Well, hey guys, it's Kyle again, and today we're going to be doing a feature focus on iDrive 7 because I know it is a complicated system. It has a lot of options. As you can see, this menu even has a whole bunch of options, but we're just going to go over it and make it maybe a little easier for you to use. So, this is the screen that you're greeted with originally when you turn the vehicle on. You see this menu, and it might look a little daunting to you, but it's easy, I promise. This is your navigation cluster. This over here is your current media that's playing, and this is your communication. So communication stands for phone, connected device. So you can see I have my iPhone sitting on my wireless charging pad down here, and it's connected right there, KP iPhone. As you can see, it's connected to my phone right there, and that's the media that's playing. So once you go into the media menu, you can either tap it, or you can select media here, or from the screen, you can press down on this. So if you want to scroll up and down, you can either press down, press up, or you can twist to change those menus. So you can see I twist, and it adjusts up here. You can press down on it, and that's like an OK button. You can see your Sirius XM, FM radio, AM, Spotify, which is the last used item in my Apple CarPlay, which we'll get to in one moment. Built-in music collection, so if you have a USB drive and you connected it and downloaded the music that you want into your car, you can run it off the hard drive. Bluetooth audio, screen mirroring, Apple CarPlay, or other mobile devices. So if you want to go back, you have a couple different options. You can either press the back button, or you press this over to the left to go back to your previous menu, which is the home screen, or you can just press menu, which brings you back to home, which is this section right here. So if you want to go to communication, it'll go to your phone and CarPlay, mobile devices to allow you to connect a new phone, BMW Assist, which allows you to call concierge services if you have an accident or your car breaks down and you want to schedule an appointment at your local BMW dealer. You can do that through there. And same thing with messages. They'll tell you if your appointment was approved and everything has been set. So we'll go back, go down to nav. If your car is optioned with it, this will show you your BMW maps. When you have a couple of different settings, you can choose to display traffic information. You want to change your map's theme. Right now I have it on permanent dark mode because that's what I prefer. You can leave it on light mode if that's what you want. You can customize if you want the map to always display north up, or if you want it to go with the direction of your vehicle. You can split the screen if you want to have media on this side and navigation on this side, or whatever you would like. So you can see I have it in night mode. You can change it to day mode if you want to see all the streets. Map style, you can do standard or alternative maps. Parking and refuel suggestions, which will tell you where you can park and where the gas stations are. And reduced mode, which will show you just the streets that you're driving on instead of showing you everything. So if you go to configure services, you can have it not update the maps if you don't want to, only when you select to update. You can have it show you the weather. You can have it learn your routes and give you suggested routes for next time you're driving. For example, if you drive to work and one day it's a little bit more traffic than usual and you took a different route, it can remember that route for next time there's traffic if you took an alternate route. And it'll show you traffic and adjust while you're driving. You can have it select your route type, fast, short. So get there as fast as possible. get there in the fewest amount of miles or get there the most fuel efficient way. You can also have it do dynamic. So based on your current traffic situation, you can have it do automatic with confirmation to change. It'll pop up a message saying, hey, there's more traffic than usual. Do you want to use a different route? And it'll make you say yes or no. You can have it select if you don't want to use highways. If you want to avoid highways, you can do that. If you want to avoid toll roads, you can go ahead and select that as well. Same thing for ferries. If you're crossing, from Washington to Alaska, you can say, yes, I will use a ferry, or you can say, no, I want to drive through Canada to get there. So then you would go ahead and avoid using a ferry. Carpool lanes, avoid, so you can change that if you have a passenger in the vehicle with you. You can go ahead and change that to use, or avoid if you are just driving alone. And then you can select areas to avoid. If you know a bad area, you can go ahead and mark that as an area to avoid. The voice guidance, you can have it show you. You can, it'll tell you, hey, you have to turn in 3/4 of a mile, or you can choose not to. So that's totally up to you. And you can get there by clicking navigation, or you can select navigation or map. You can bring up just the map if you want it, or navigation, and you can type in a destination where you would like to go. And that's if you have the BMW maps. Otherwise, you can go down to maps in CarPlay, and it'll bring up your preferred map carrier. So whether that's Apple Maps, Waze, Google Maps, or any mapping application, it'll automatically bring that up in CarPlay. And we'll come back to CarPlay in just a moment. And we'll go down to car, where you have a couple of different options. You have driving information, so that's where you can find what your miles per gallon was since you last refueled, or since your trip today, or since you last reset the individual. You can go over to sports displays if you want to see how many pound-feet your engine is pushing and how many horsepower while you're driving. Your driving style analysis. So when you're driving an Eco Pro, it'll tell you how efficient you're driving. You can do X view if you're driving off-road, see what your tilt is. So you can see I'm on a 2% angle, 1,437 feet above sea level, and a 0-degree tilt, headed northeast. So if you're off-road, that's some useful information. And since it is partial hybrid, it does have energy flow map. So you can see the engine going to the wheels, engine going to the battery charging the wheels. So that's how it's able to achieve 30 mpg for a big SUV. So we'll go back. You can also see some vehicle status information. So you can check your tires. You can check all your tire pressures. So you can see 35, 36, 39, and 42. So they're all over. You can check your engine oil level, because there is no dipstick. So this is where you would check your engine oil level. Your check control, this is where it would tell you, you have a check engine light, or you have, one of your tires is low, or if there's any system fault, we'll go into here. Required services, it'll tell you when you need your next oil change, you need to change your brake fluid, you need a visual check of the vehicle to ensure everything is still safe. Remember, that's under vehicle status, and you can either touch the screen if you want to go through settings, or you can use the remote. So for driving mode, you can set some individual settings per driving modes, which are these driving modes right here. You have Sport, and if you tap it again, you can go to Sport Plus, and if you tap it again, you can go to Sport Individual. So you can set your preferred settings for Sport. Same thing with Eco Pro. You can set your settings for Eco Pro. So you want to limit your speed to go to 75 miles an hour, then you can do that. If you want Eco Pro to work up to 80, the less speed, the more efficient the vehicle is going to be. So right now I'm at 80% efficiency at 80 miles an hour. If you're coasting, if you allow coasting, you can turn that on. If you don't, you can see the efficiency goes down and it slows you down instead of coasts. Eco Pro seat heating, so if you want to turn that off, it is less efficient. Same thing with the climate control. If you really need the air conditioner not to shut off when you're at a stoplight, you can either run this start stop off or disable this Active Pro climate control. The Eco Pro light and sight. So exterior mirror and window heating reduced. And you can change the driving dynamics too. So if you want sport steering or comfort steering, you can select which steering mode you want. The sport steering just makes the steering wheel a little stiffer to turn, which I prefer. So I put my custom setting on for sport steering, and I save that to my Eco Pro. And same thing with sport. You can select what kind of steering mode you want. Your engine, do you want it in Sport Plus, Sport, or Comfort? And transmission, do you want it to shift harsh and keep RPMs very high like Sport Plus, Sport, or you can keep your transmission in Comfort so that it shifts smoothly instead of keeping your RPM so high. So you can configure that yourself, which I really love, that ability. And let's go to your next settings. You have your one-touch turn signal. You can do 1 or 3 times. You can enable your daytime driving lights. So your comfort is your welcome light, carpet, your pathway lighting that displays behind the vehicle and along the vehicle. Your door handle lights, which are lights that show up under the door handle, and I'll show you that right now. And then as you walk up to the vehicle, it'll automatically turn on the headlights to say welcome. And as you walk away, it'll say goodbye and turn the headlights off after a certain amount of time, which I just set to 30 seconds. You can set that to 10, or you can have the headlights turn off when you park immediately and have no pathway lights. So that's all up to you. And then as we continue, we see our driver assistance. So you can see we have our pedestrian warning active. We have frontal collision warning set to early. You can select early, medium, or late. Your side collision warning, you have on or off. Your lane departure warning, you have always, reduced, or off. So always has lane departure warning above 40 miles an hour. Reduced is unintended lane departure warning above 40 miles per hour. And you could just have off. You can enable or disable steering intervention. So if you're drifting into a lane, it can steer you back into your lane with your steering intervention. With active blind spot detection, you can do early, medium, or late. For warnings above 15 miles per hour, it'll let you know that, hey, you seem to be changing lanes. Do you mean to do this? When there's a car there. And you can have it pull you back into your lane with steering intervention. And same thing with parking and maneuvering. You can disable your automatic park distance control if you have that option. Here with their park distance control, you can have it brake for you if you're backing up and it detects there's something behind you and you're not braking. It'll automatically do that. You can have it automatically park for you if it detects a parking space. It'll pop up on the screen and say, hey, seems you're parking. Do you want to park? You can just say yes or no, or you can press this button to go ahead and enable that self-park. Also has cross traffic warning. So when parking view is active, acoustic and visual warnings, so that means audio and visual warnings, will be made at driveway exits and intersections where the view is limited. So if you're backing out of a spot, it'll let you know if you can't see them, even with your rear camera. If you can't see them, if they're coming, on the side, then it'll let you know that there's traffic coming at you. And you can change the volume for the noise when you are backing up. You can set it really loud or quieter. And for steering wheel feedback, if you are driving with the self-driving, or you are trying to change lanes and there's somebody in your blind spot, you can go ahead and change that intensity of the vibration. You can set that to strong, medium, or light. I just leave that at medium. And then with your displays, this is all of them. So your heads-up display that shows up right there. Let's go ahead and enable that. We can change our brightness. So if you can see that, you can change the brightness. You can change the height. So you can see it can be higher or lower. And you can rotate it. And then in there you have all extra settings for navigation, driver assistance, displaying your excessive speed. So for example, it'll turn red if your speed limit is 60 and you're going 61. It'll show that text in red. And you can show your list and everything up there, as well as your sport displays. So it'll tell you your shift pattern when it's ready to shift if you are in sport. And if you are shorter and you need to reduce height, you can do reduced height mode, and you can bring the height a little bit down, and it'll shift the projector inside so that it can aim lower. Now the instrument panel, if you want the instrument panel, which is right over here, if you want the central view to be map view, if you want nothing in the center, or if you want just your route, so it'll tell you, hey, you're turning left up ahead. I really love the map, personally, so I leave it in map view. Converted speed, so it'll show you what your speed limit is. And if you're driving 80 kilometers per hour, you can have it automatically show you. If you're driving in an area you are unfamiliar with, you can show your speed limit information, so you can see speed limit 30. You're going 30. You can turn that on or off. And then it can have it turn red if you are going over the speed limit. Speed limit's 30, you're going 80. Then it'll show in red for you. And if you want additional information in the route on your map, like tunnels ahead, gas stations, and all of that, you can have that on there. You can set it to reduced mode, so it just shows your turn up ahead, drive, and your current speed, instead of showing you all that other information. And you can have it display your infotainment list in where you want that, if you want that in your instrument panel or your heads-up display. I prefer it to be in the heads-up display so that when I'm messing with my infotainment with my steering wheel here, it shows right in front of me, so that I don't have to look down or over to be selecting anything. I can just drive and it displays in my heads-up display. And then this screen right here in the center is the control display. You can turn it off through the menu here, or you can select option and turn it off. So you can select the brightness as well. For example, you're driving at night, you don't want that screen on anymore, you can just select option and go down to turn off control display, and now it's off. And if you want to turn it back on, you just select menu. Okay, And now we'll continue in settings. Indoors vehicle access. You can select your tailgate if you want the opening height to be less, like your garage is very short. You can have it open less far. Key button assignment if you want it to unlock all doors or just the driver's door. I want it to unlock all the doors, so I leave that setting. When I walk up to the car, it unlocks all the doors instead of just the driver's door. You can have it automatically lock in a few minutes if if no door or tailgate is opened. The vehicle will lock itself automatically. You can have it automatically lock after starting to drive. You can have it automatically unlock when you put it in park. You can turn off the vehicle after opening the door if no one is still inside. So if it detects you put on 2 seatbelts and only the driver's door opens, it will not turn off the vehicle. It'll keep the climate running for your passenger. You can have it flash when lock and unlocking, so it'll flash the headlights and the taillights when you lock it or when you unlock the vehicle. You can have it make the sound when you're locking or unlocking, and you can have it fold the mirrors in when the vehicle is locked. So let's actually go ahead and do that. And since we're still in the vehicle, I don't think it is gonna prompt and actually do it because the key is in the vehicle. But I will display that, show that to you later. Interior lighting is if you want the ambient lighting on, which is down here. You can see that orange hue. You can turn the brightness up. You can also select the color. So I'll turn it to purple. Maybe you'll see that a little bit better. You can see the purple displaying along the vehicle. And it also goes on that rear hatch area, or the rear doors. It's very nice. And you can select the brightness. You can see it also displays what it should look like for you. We'll go over to climate control. You have your temperature adjustments if you want it to be cold and hot. BMW used to have this center dial. You can enable or disable the rear climate control. And you can have it automatically turn back on to default settings. When the vehicle is started, the rear climate control will reset to temperature of 72. You can have it automatically recirculate. For your seat heating, you can select your distribution. So if you want it to be more on your back, you can do that. If you want it more on your butt, you can do that. You can have it automatically activate the seat heating when your temperature is below a certain degree. And you can also have it turn on the steering wheel heating when it's below a certain temperature. And you can also have it automatically turn on the ventilation at a certain temperature and what level. So if you want it on 1, 2, or 3, you can go ahead and have that automatically turn on as well. You can do the same thing for the passenger. If they want more back or more bottom, you can select that and have it automatically turn on the heater at a certain temperature and at what level, and the same thing for ventilation. And if you want pre-ventilation, which means it'll turn the climate control on. For example, if you are going to go inside of a store and you want to come back out and have the car still warm 30 degrees later, you can set a departure plan and say, in 30 minutes, set it on, or every day you go to work at 7:30, please have the car warm for me at 7:30, you can go ahead and set that up. So that's nice. And then key button settings, same thing. If you just walk up to it, you can have it select to open just the driver's door or all doors. And this is different than the door vehicle access. That is for when you're walking up to the vehicle with comfort access. And the key button setting is for pressing the lock and unlock button on your key fob. The BMW logo is the lock button, and there's an unlock button right above it. But I keep that in my pocket, and I just use comfort access with the door vehicle access. And then you have other apps. So underneath your installed apps, you have BMW Assist, you have your preferred service center, you have My BMW, you have Alexa, lap timer, weather, uneven road surfaces. So if you're off-roading, you have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and the BMW Store. So there's a couple ways to get to Apple CarPlay. You can select communication and select Apple CarPlay. Once you are connected to your phone and it shows Apple CarPlay, it'll also show up here if you have an iPhone or an Android. It'll allow you to select it there, or you can go to Apps and select CarPlay. So we're just going to launch CarPlay. You can see it goes right into the menu. One phone call missed. You can select your Apple Music. You can select Apple Maps. You have your messages. You have your current playing audio. So whether that's YouTube or Spotify or your Apple Music, you can select that. You have BMW, which brings you back to the BMW menus. You have Apple News, calendar, your settings of the phone for CarPlay, and some other apps if you have them installed. So you can see I have the Dasher app, I have Google Maps, Spotify, Teams, WebEx, WhatsApp, and Zoom. So if I want Google Maps, that shows me my Google Maps right there. You can also do your this automatically adjusts to your most recently used apps. So you can see I most recently used Google Maps, Spotify, and the phone. So you can select that and it'll display. And it also has the home, which kind of looks similar to BMW's home, but this is Apple CarPlay home. So you can see your current audio, you can see your navigation, so your maps, and if you want to do go, or as you're driving, you can say voice and say, hey, take me to the Home Depot, and it'll navigate you to the nearest Home Depot. And if ever you want to get back to BMW screen, you can select that BMW in Apple CarPlay. You can select menu on the dial and get back to the home. So there was iDrive 7, and personally, I love to use Apple CarPlay and love having everything on this screen, or the navigation, so BMW navigation, so that it pops up here as well as in my heads-up display. But I always use Apple CarPlay for my music regardless. So thanks for watching this feature focus on BMW's iDrive 7 system. You have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.